right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Just a reminder again that we will be off Saturday and no Saturday night gospel jams. But when we do come back, we will have special guests right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Again, it is rapped by Ben Israel will be in the house, and that show will be at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday the 21st. The book of Judith, first verse in chapter 1. In the 20th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, who reigned in Nineveh, the great city in the days of Apocrypha, which reigned over the Medes in Espartane. Verse 2. And built in Espartane walls round about of stones, hewed 3 cubits broad, and made the height of the wall 70 cubits, and the breadth thereof 50 cubits. Verse 3. And set the towers thereof upon the gates of it 100 cubits high, and the breadth thereof in the foundation 60 cubits. Verse 4. And he made the gates thereof, even gates that were raised to the height of 70 cubits, and the breadth of them was 40 cubits, going forth of his mighty armies, and for the settling in array of his footmen. Verse 5. Even in those days, King Nebuchadnezzar made war with plain in the borders of Regan. Verse 6. And there came unto him all they that dwelt in the hill country, and all that dwelt by Euphrates, and Tigris, and Hydaspes, and the plain of Arak, the king of Elameans, and very many nations of the sons of Chelah assembled themselves to the battle. Verse 7. Then Nebuchadnezzar, king of Assyrians, sent unto all that dwelt in Persia, to all that dwelt west, and to those that dwelt Libanus and Antipanesus, and to all that dwelt upon the sea coast. Verse 8. And to those among the nations that were of Carmel and Gilead, and in higher Galilee, and the great plain Estalon. Verse 9. And to all that were in Samaria, and the cities thereof, and beyond Jordan, unto Jerusalem, and Bethany, and Chelus, and Cades, and the river of Egypt, and Tapnes, and Rameses, and all the land of Gershtanis, and Memphis, and to all the inhabitants of Egypt, until ye come to the borders of Ethiopia. Verse 11. But all the inhabitants of the land made light of the commandment of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Assyrians. Neither went they with him to the battle, for they were not afraid of him. Yea, he was before them as one man. And they sent away his ambassadors from them without effect, with disgrace. Verse 12. For Nebuchadnezzar was very angry with all this country, and sware by his throne and kingdom that he would surely be avenged upon all those coasts of Sicilia and Damascus and Syria, and that he would slay with the sword of the inhabitants of the land of Moab, the children of Ammon, and all Judea, and all that were in Egypt, till ye come to the borders of the 2 seas. Verse 13. Then he marched in battle array with his power against King Arphaxad in the 70th year, and he prevailed in his battle, for he overthrew all the power of Arphaxad and all his horsemen and all his chariots. Verse 14, and became lord of his cities, and came unto Ecbatane, and took the towers, and spoiled the streets thereof, and turned the beauty therefore into shame. He took also Arphaxad in the mountains of Regaim, and smote him through with his darts, and destroyed him utterly that day. So he returned afterward to Nineveh, both he and all his company of 100 nations, being a very great multitude of men of war. And there he took his ease and banquet, both he and his armies, 120 to 1. Let's take another music break, and when we come back, we'll get into chapter 2. Right now, here's Ben Israel, who will be our special guest right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, Saturday Night Gospel Jams, #1 show of the Men Empowered Organization.
No, I don't like watching television. I'd rather kick back, relax, and television. Revelations 3, did you hear, did you listen? Even gotta check myself as I television. You know I don't like watching television. I'd rather kick back, relax, and television. Revelations 3, did you hear, did you listen? Even gotta check myself as I television. Television to my eyes, think pervertedly. Driving down the street one day, this occurred to me. Inserted within me was beautiful women to lust. Now my relationship every day is losing trust. Let's discuss, these holidays from paganism mixed with the spirituality. Who made decisions? Was it Hashem's vision or his adversary? Wasn't God's army 300 the similarity? But it's just a movie, that's what you say. Hearing people asking, what if God had a name? But he does, right? God and Lord is a substitute word replacing his name, kid. This is real life, not a fantasy. No make-believe so every single fan can see. I don't speak in tongues where I'm from, let's go there. But as I television see, the vision's impaired. You know I don't like watching television. I'd rather kick back, relax, and television. Revelations 3, did you hear, did you listen? Even gotta check myself as I television. You know I don't like watching television. I'd rather kick back, relax, and television. Revelations 3, did you hear, did you listen? Even gotta check myself as I television. Television to the sheep, you lead them all astray. Since when Galatians 3 made it okay. The disrespect Leviticus 11, one question. God don't make no mistakes, right? Watch what's the lesson. Now your leader stressing, calling it a heresy. One thing to understand, go read in Greek, learn Hebrew, let me help you out a bit. The alphabet is how you form the English alphabet. The branches need the root don't need the branches. Judgment Day, I didn't have time, is that your answer? Mental cancer, but I know you cancer. But you think being a man of God ain't gangster. 40 days, 40 nights, you remember that? Lock, wipe a pillar of salt for looking back. You discipline your children and show them you really care. Thinking love is only thought, your vision's impaired. You know I don't like watching television. I'd rather kick back, relax, and television. Revelations 3, did you hear, did you listen? Even gotta check myself as I television. You know I don't like watching television. I'd rather kick back, relax, and television. Revelations 3, did you hear, did you listen? Even gotta check myself as I tell a vision.
Welcome back to Let's Talk right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization as we get ready to do Chapter 2, and we're now in overtime. I apologize again for being late on our show, but let's go ahead and do verse 1 in Chapter 2. And in the 18th year, the 22nd day of the first month, there was talk in the house of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, that he should, as he said, avenge himself on all the earth. So he called unto him officers and his nobles, and communicated with them his secret counsel, and concluded afflicting of the whole earth out of his own mouth. Verse 3. Then they decreed to destroy all flesh that did not obey the commandments of his mouth. Verse 4. And when he had enabled his council, Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, called Holophenes, the chief captain of his army, which was next unto him, and said unto him, verse 5, Thus said the great king, the Lord of the whole earth, Behold, thou shalt go forth from my presence, and take with thee men that trust in their own strength, of footmen 120,000, and the number of horses with their riders 12,000. Verse 6. And thou shalt go against all the west countries, because they disobeyed my commandment. Now this is a king speaking his commandment that the world disobeyed, the west country. Verse 7. And thou shalt declare unto that they prepare for me earth and water. For I will go forth in my wrath against them, and will cover the whole face of the earth with the feet of my army, and I will give them for a spoil unto them. Verse 8. So that their slain shall fill their valleys and brooks, and the rivers shall be filled with the dead till it overflows. 9. And I will lead them captives to the uttermost parts of all the earth. 4 shall go forth and take beforehand for me all their coasts, and if they will yield themselves unto thee, thou shalt reserve them for me till the day of their punishment. Verse 11. But concerning them that rebel, let not thy eye spare them. Put them to the slaughter, and spoil them whatsoever thou goest. Verse 12. For as I live, and by the powers of my kingdom, whatsoever I have spoken, that will I do by my hand. Verse 13. And taken thou heed that thou transgress none of the commandments of thy Lord, but accomplish them fully, as I have commanded thee, and defer not to do them. Verse. And Holophenes went forth from the presence of his Lord, and called all the governors and captains and the officers of the army of Assur. Verse 15. And he mustered the chosen men for the battle, in his Lord had commanded him, unto 120,000 and 12,000 archers on horseback. Verse 16. And he ranged them as a great army is ordered for the war. Verse 17. And he took camels and asses for their carriages, a very great number, and sheep and oxen and goats without number for their provisions. I got to let you all know that this was the great superpower at that time, just like the